All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol OCGN, Ocugen Inc. And before we jump into this chart, I want to say welcome to all the first-time viewers and investors. Welcome to the channel, Invest for Tomorrow. To all the subscribers, welcome back. And as we dive into this chart, I do want every single investor and viewer to be aware that I have a new ticker symbol to share with you guys. Okay, I want every single investor and viewer to be aware of this and that it has to do with the energy sector. Now, we've talked about others, and one specifically more than already, almost 3 times actually, and it's been in the last 2 weeks that we've talked about it, is CLNE. So we're not going to talk about that one today. Today's a new one you've probably never heard of, and I definitely recommend staying tuned to the end so we can talk more about it, look at the chart, the potential, and even the financials, and why this stock is definitely one you want to have on your radar. So stay tuned for more information on that. So here we are with OCGN, Ocugen Inc. Now, it continues to hit newer lows, which is pretty normal for a stock when a lot of investors are unaware, feeling uncertain, and so forth. I've seen it in the comments too. There's very few that are confident right now in Ocugen. And it's reasonable because Ocugen has had a run, which let's go ahead and move our supports and resistance to their new location. But it's had such a wild run without FDA approval, okay? This is just came to the light and to the attention of a lot of investors, and a lot of the short-term investors are leaving, or some of the ones that were long, and they've seen this rise way beyond their goal. Like some people were expecting this to, hit $3 or $4 or $5, and that's about it. So this is way beyond what they expected, and they're trying to see if this bottoms out and also see if there's a consolidation or if it pulls right back up and it shows some confirmation. They might jump in a smaller position because the shares cost a little bit more, but to give it one more shot because they already saw how high it could go, 1880. But that's what I'm noticing right now. And also the offering isn't helping. The offering started this catalyst, and also investor sentiment has continued it. Now, the offering price per share was pretty low. We're getting pretty close to those numbers, but the offering was supposed to close out today. So if investor sentiment continues to be more on the bearish side, even though the offering closed, we could see this drop a little bit more. So we want to pay close attention to certain support levels as this chart continues. Now, if we remember the history of this chart, which is kind of now really zoomed out, we used to be able to see this clearly, but this would jump up and spend some time in the downward trend. Like we're talking about weeks, right? Jump up in the downward trend to the point that it hit those lows of 140 and then 160, 170, and then it bounced up. So, I mean, every time it's ran up, we've seen that downward trend bounce up, downward trend for some weeks. So I wouldn't be surprised that this continues in a downward trend for some time, but it needs to slow down because it's going down really fast. And that's because of investor sentiment. A lot of investors, this hit way beyond their goals. They saw it hit $18. They saw it drop really fast. Then they finally find out about the offering. It kind of looks a little hopeful here. It's building momentum, and then it continues to pull down because the investors are like, you know what? I got in at $1, $2, $3, and my expectations was $5, $6. We're already beyond that, almost times 2. Let me just get out now. And it's having that effect that it's adding up, that more outflow than inflow is coming in. Then the second thing is obviously the offering and the FDA approval. But long term, if Ocugen receives FDA approval, there's some long-term potential here because of all the good stuff supposedly that Covaxin claims to be, right? They're a cocktail that's made with the inactive form of COVID-19, which is like the most traditional vaccine that we know of. I mean, there's probably more out there coming out or being made, but as of right now, that's like the most traditional way that we know vaccines being made and or have been made. The second thing is how it could be administered to anyone of any age, and complications seem to be very small according to research studies, right? And the last thing is the shelf life of this vaccine. It's a little bit on the more competitive, edgy side of everything here, because the shelf life has something to do with transportation and also being able to get it to certain places, more rural areas, and administering it to patients and so forth in such a much easier fashion, because it doesn't have to be, in these really cold conditions or hot conditions. I mean, the shelf life, you can just leave it at room temperature and supposedly it doesn't spoil for a few weeks or days. I mean, that right there is pretty competitive to other vaccines around, right? So like right now, Covaxin is claiming to be a pretty long-term potential vaccine that can actually last longer than the others. It's actually made the traditional way, that as we know it, right, inactive form of COVID-19, and it's not showing any complications or signs of complications no matter what age. I mean, those are the three most important things about a vaccine. It's shelf life, how it's made or what type of cocktail it is, and then all the age limits and very limited complications. I mean, we still have to see, but that's what trials are showing. That's what research is showing. That's what all these articles are showing. Very interesting. I look forward to seeing your guys' thoughts, how you feel about this. Do you think this is discount time, or do you think we have room to fall a little bit more and have to consolidate somewhere above $3, but we might get close to those numbers again? Because if we end up back at $3, I mean, all these gains would have just been artificial. It's temporary. I mean, this needs to consolidate somewhere above $3 within this range, from $8 to $3 within that area, or even up here, even better, to kind of show some healthy signs that this is being held up by investors and that there's some long-term potential here. But based off of everything that I've heard about Ocugen and Covaxin, I mean, it's pretty interesting. So I want to start off by emphasizing the support level down here, $8.13. I've probably said in other videos, $8.16, $8.14, $8.12, anywhere in that area, okay? I want every single investor to be aware that this is a very important support level. If it gets broken through, this could be on its way down to newer lows. And we need to watch it carefully and zoom on in and pay close attention to some of these points here so that I can go ahead and suggest some points to look at. But right now, we're nowhere near that. So right now, 8.16 to 8.13 is very important to watch, or anywhere in that area between 8.10 to 8.16, just to kind of give you guys a general idea of that area. If it gets broken through, it might go to newer lows. Now, here we are with our new support and resistance. Our first support level here, based off the chart, is 946. It's certainly getting close to that. We're at 976, give or take 955 within this 30-minute time frame. So 946 gets broken through. This could be on its way down to newer lows, and we need to watch it carefully to see if the bulls are trying to reappear and build some momentum, or are the bears tearing this one down fairly fast and pulling it further away from the 50-day moving average, which is 1240. See if I can land on it. It jumps from 39 to 41, but 1240 to be exact. So as long as we're below it, we're in bearish territory. The moment we're above it, we're in bullish territory. Our resistance, which is very important for the bulls, is 1142. This needs to be broken through, but it does not signify that the bulls have gained control or have leverage over the chart, or that they're guaranteed to break through 1240 and end up in bullish territory. This is just an indicator to let us investors know where this is heading and where the momentum is going. So 1142 needs to be broken through and turn into a support so this can reach newer highs and new resistance levels. As always, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community, and don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watch this video. Stay tuned till the end because I have a ticker symbol you won't want to miss, and you definitely want to add it to your watch list. So for everyone that has stayed to this point in the video, the ticker symbol I'm about to share with you guys is part of the energy sector as well. I know we've talked previously about others like fuel cell, we've talked about CLNE, and others on the list. And this one is Canadian based. Now, a lot of analysis ratings are pointing this one upwards. So let's go ahead and look at the chart. And the ticker symbol is AQN. I don't know if you guys have heard about it or know anything about it, but it's Canadian based. And you could see in the chart, since that big fall, right, last year in February leading into March, right, it went ahead and dropped from highs here of about $16, almost $17, to about $9 and some change. And here we are now at $17.51. Now, throughout the year, it's taken time to work its way up. The ups and downs, right, the volatility of the market does exist, and it's always going to be there. That's unavoidable. But through the ups and downs, it keeps on hitting newer highs. Now, something else that really attracts me to this stock is how their revenue and profit has been growing since 2017, 2018, 2019, and I could see 2020 being even better, right, overall. And you could see it here. They had only one bad quarter, and I can also see 2021, 2022, and moving forward having this exponential growth here on the chart and also in the revenue. Another thing too that I find attractive about this is its dividend. Now, dividend isn't always something to, go ahead and say, hey, I like this stock because of dividend, because sometimes dividend can try to make you come on in and join on in on the stock. But what good is a dividend if the stock is going downwards or having a downward spiral? But when we look at this chart over the whole course of the year, this has been pushing upwards, right? It's had its consolidation periods, its ups and downs, but it keeps on hitting new highs. Now, market cap is also another thing that's very interesting to me, how small it is. And one of the Forbes contributors, so if you can find that article, his name is Roger Conrad, said back in December that this is the future Next Era Energy. So if you're familiar with Next Era Energy, you can think about their chart, their revenue, and their growth. This is said to almost be comparable the future Next Era Energy of Canada. Very interesting stuff. So I really want every single investor and viewer to do more due diligence and research. And once again, it's a Forbes contributor. His name is Roger Conrad. If anybody can find that article and list it down below, I would really appreciate it. I didn't have time to go ahead and pull it up and go ahead and add it to the video so you guys can see it and we can read over it, because I want to go ahead and get jumped into these charts. But I just want every single investor and viewer to be aware. AQN is definitely one you want to add to your watch list and keep on your radar moving forward. And this is said to be Next Era Energy in Canada. That's a big, bold statement. And if you know Next Era Energy, they're the top dogs right now, one of them actually, and they did a split. So they went almost all the way up to $300, and they're probably after the split way beyond that with so much more room to grow, right? Right now at the split, I don't know exactly what they're at, so let's take a look at it. But if you go ahead and see Next Era Energy's chart, it's going to be pretty amazing to think that this is being actually compared to Next Era Energy. So when they did the split, it was a 4-to-1. So if you multiply 84 by 4, we're talking about almost $330, almost $40 per share right now. It's what it's valued. So if you look at it, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be the same exact size and, we're going to get the same type of returns and it's going to be the same market cap, but there's so much room here just based off the chart. And when you look at this chart over the course of time, it's just been moving upwards. And when we go all the way back to the past, same thing. Look at that. Look at that trail. Look at that trail. It's just been pushing upwards. Now, it seems to be a very slow mover, but that's fine. That's fine. It gives you time to get on in on more and go ahead and load up for the next ride. So I look forward to seeing your guys' thoughts and feedback on this one. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.